Okay, welcome back. Looks like we're live, episode 3 of the Botcast. So just got me and Shane on here now while we get our guest is in the dressing room. He's in the trailer. Just kidding around. No, myself and Shane just thought we'd have a little bit of preamble here today before we bring on our guest, which is Neal Loucka, and he's an owner of Sound Salon in St. John's. So it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Good buddy of mine. Grew up with Neal, great fella, and he's got an exciting story and a bit of a unique background as a young business owner in the spa and I guess styling industry. So certainly excited to hear a little bit about his thoughts and how he got involved there and how he's making out with not only a business going, but 3 little kids at home too. I'm sure him and his wife are having a great time these days.
I was watching we don't have any kids, but I was watching Bill Maher. Bill Maher just seems to hate children. It just seems. But he says, what was it Bill Maher was saying? He said, people with kids, they confide in me because I don't have any children. And they say, I love my kids, but if I could do it again, I wouldn't have them. which is horrible. But I think there's probably a few parents feeling like that with this isolation that we're in, this quarantine, which hopefully is almost over because we're at 0 cases again for the 7th day in a row here in St. John's. Anyways, we're lucky here.
Newfoundland and Labrador, not just St. John's.
Yeah, Newfoundland and Labrador, yeah.
I guess Saskatchewan's planning on reopening themselves. They got a bit of a 5-step process out in Saskatchewan, so rightly or wrongly, who knows? I guess you never know until you jump in and try.
I mean, you got to try it. I mean, listen, we can't stay like this forever. I mean, that's the crazy part. And I think some people are getting settled into it, but you got to understand, the government can't keep sending these checks out and can't, this CURB program is not going to be available forever. The CEBA program for businesses not going to be available forever. I saw that today, and we're recording this on Friday, April 24th. So there might be a delay in when we put this out, but I saw today Trudeau announced that they're going to have a rent program for businesses, and I mean that's great, and those are necessary actions being taken by the government to get us through this health crisis. The reality of the situation is that we do have to have a plan to get back to work, or else we're going to be in trouble. And I appreciate that they have one out in Saskatchewan, and I'd like to see one here. I mean, we've had a week of 0 cases. I think there's less than 50 active cases in the province here right now. So we seem to be in a pretty good position. So I'd like to see what that plan looks like for reopening.
For sure, yeah. I guess on the sports side too. I mean, I know you and I are both big sports fans, but PGA Tour is kind of starting back up with no fans for now. NFL had their draft last night. Lots of talks for NBA and NHL starting to reopen or starting again to put a bit of a plan in place to get things back rolling. So it's definitely lots of people, lots of different organizations and groups talking about how do we get out of this? What's the first step we need to take to do it safely?
Yeah, and again, for Neal from Sound Salon, I think that's going to be something to be interesting. Is how he intends to reopen as well. When he comes on, we'll ask him about that. But I mean, getting your hair cut, I mean, those are as you can see, I think both of us could probably use a haircut, and I mean, that's close quarters, and how are you going to do that? But I mean, the reality of the situation is, I mean, we can't do this for 2 years. Do you know what I mean? So there has to be a plan in place, and I keep hearing new normal, and that seems to be a term that they're throwing out there a bit, and I'd like to have an idea of what that new normal looks like, and I think Saskatchewan's plan, from what I've seen, is groups of 10 are not allowed to gather and certain things like that.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to be in the restaurant industry though, and we've tried to get a couple of restaurant guests on, and they haven't come on yet. But I mean, you think about the restaurant industry. I mean, how can you survive in the restaurant industry if you only allowed to have 10 people in your place at a time?
Exactly. No, big time. It's going to be interesting. I think in terms of the new norm or the new normal, I think a lot of that is the social distancing side of things. Obviously, people are going to get back to work. Life's going to go back to normal. Kids are going to go back to school, sports, all that stuff's going to happen eventually. But I guess just people being more aware and more cognizant of staying a little bit further away from people, not kind of being up in people's faces in the grocery store, at the store, walking down the street, that kind of stuff. I think it's a lot to do with the social distancing. People are going to start to take it upon themselves to be a little more accountable for their actions or inactions sometimes, I guess, which is good to see. I think that's good to see that people are finally taking some matters into their own hands, for lack of a better term, for their own health and safety instead of just hoping for the best, which is good to see.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm a bit of an introvert extrovert. So I'm kind of both. It's sort of weird, but I do like my space. But at the same time, I do like the jibber jabber and I do like being around people.
Nothing beats a nice cold pint down at Blue on Water.
Absolutely. With the boys. But I mean, for me, it's kind of neat now. Like, you don't have to worry about people coming up and talking to you on the street, or people will cross the street, so that you maintain social distancing. So I'm like, this is great, because I never used to like to randomly run into people on the street anyway. So,
yeah, no, I hear you for sure.
That's been eliminated now from our social norms. The thing that gets me is I wonder if handshaking is going to come back with any regard. I see the elbow bump that people do. I wonder if that's going to be it. I shared an article to my Facebook page the other day about live long and prosper. I mean, maybe that's what we need to do. It's only logical, Shane. It's only logical.
We're all going to start doing the old Howie Mandel and fist bumps only. Who knows?
Well, but I mean, fist bumps are still, you're still having contact with the hand. I mean, I guess it's not as bad, on the front of the hand, but I mean,
yeah. It's
going
to be interesting. It is. It's going to be, it's what, another 30 days, is it, that at least here in Canada and the US, that the borders are closed off for non-essential travel? Is it another 30, I think, another month, thereabouts? So it's still a little ways away before things even start to get back to normal.
Well, that's the thing. Is travel going to happen at all? Like, of course, me and a couple of guys and myself and my partner, Jessica, we talked about going down to Florida in the fall and going and seeing a football game in Tampa Bay. And now Tampa Bay, the Bucs have, the big news is they signed Tom Brady, and Rob Gronkowski came out of retirement. And I think Patriots fans are
they're torn.
They're torn and hurting a little bit, I think. But so we were all talking about going down to Tampa before all this happened, because it's a quick flight from where we are. Nice weather. Tampa's is easy going city. And now this is, now their football team is pretty good, so it makes it even better. But I mean, is travel going to be open? Like, is that a wise move to go? And I mean, we're not talking about next month. I mean, we're talking about October, November. I mean, that's the crazy thing. So, I don't know.
It's going to be, it's going to be interesting for sure. It is. It's going to be change life as we know it.
Yeah, and I definitely want to plan. I want to know what the plan is, or just something. I need a plan. I just, somebody come out with something. I wish, in government every day they come. The other day they had a show of putting hand sanitizer on your hand and how to put a mask on. It's like, well, I don't need to see that. All right. And I think the majority of people don't need to see that. If you really don't know how to put on a mask, you can go on YouTube. So, and then this is the type of stuff they're coming out with. And I honestly, we haven't heard one thing about, what we're going to do to restart the economy again. And we're already in a pickle. And so it's but, of course, I guess I get fired up on this talking as a business owner a little bit. That stress comes over me a little bit. But also, as a business owner, you sort of feel, at least I do, I feel a responsibility for society. Is just kind of the way that I am. I know you're like that too. You sort of, you feel a responsibility towards others. And, that's why I'm interested. That's why I want to know what the plan is.
No, for sure. I hear you there. All right, well, I'd say let's jump over. We'll get Neal on here and have a little chat with him, and we'll see what Neal's saying about how Sound Salon is adapting here in the new world and what their plans are going forward, and just a little bit of story about another local business owner. All right, guys, so we got Neal Loucka on the line here on the Zoom call with myself and Aaron. Neal and his partner, Ceara, are the owners of Sound Salon and Spa in beautiful downtown St. John's. Neal's down at the salon now, I guess, picking away at some, I'm sure, inventory and cleaning up a little bit from the past 4 years of ownership that you guys have been there. I'm sure there's been a couple little corners neglected, so you're catching up on some lost time, I'm sure, and I guess spending a bit of time away from the kids too, getting a little break away from the kids for a couple hours.
Oh, definitely, Shane. With 3 kids at home, it's and COVID going on. It's a great opportunity to get down to the salon and check out a few things maybe I haven't looked at in a while. So, in light of the situation, there's definitely some things to look at, right? So we're happy for the time.
Yeah, for sure. What's downtown looking like today? Anyone walking around? It is a decent day out.
Beautiful day out right now. So we've got a lot of people going for walks by the looks of things. Anytime I'm down here for a nice day, it seems like the foot traffic is rather large. I guess people popping in, going for walks, maybe picking up some takeout, that kind of thing.
Deadly. I did drive down earlier. I picked up some sushi for lunch, and there was a decent bit of traffic out. And yeah, man, always a beauty day to be downtown strolling around for sure.
Yeah,
that's the construction. There's a construction there.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it there now. They're working on it, and I think it's the city was really wondering if they should give it the green light to go ahead in light of COVID. I think it's great that they decided to plug away at it, considering we'd all be shut down. But yeah, I guess given less traffic, it's not really much of an impact for people. But yeah, it's definitely on the go.
Cool. No, that's good. It is good. I mean, I know for downtown businesses, it's been rough because last year they had the construction on that other side, of course, and so that slowed down business. And of course, they were going to do it again this year. And I know this year as well. We've had Snowmageddon, and now we have COVID. So it's probably been a rough time to be downtown. So you wouldn't want to open up from COVID and then go right back into construction again.
Definitely not. I think it'd just be a perfect storm of bad events for us, right? Last year we went through the construction. That leg was right directly in front of our business.
Yeah,
so we went through that, but we also had tourism. We had a lot of people traveling into the community over the summer, supporting us. I think with COVID, that industry, right, that piece of our business coming up in the summertime is definitely going to be scaled back significantly. Throwing that in conjunction with construction would just be terrible, right? So
yeah, for sure. Okay. So yeah, I mean, geez, me and you, Neal, we've known each other, I guess, for I'm going to say a little under 20 years, maybe, probably 15 for sure.
15, 20 sounds about right. Yeah.
Thereabouts. Back to the old junior high basketball, soccer days, getting up to no good after school and on the weekends.
Oh, you got it, man. Yeah, memories built there for sure. I think back to it often.
For sure, man. So I mean, I know I find I don't know if saying your story is the right word or the right context there, but I find it interesting your background and kind of how you came to be in St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador, and then obviously being a young entrepreneur now. If you just want to kind of walk us through a little bit of that, give us the quick history on who you are and how you became or how you got into the spa industry here in the province.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks, Shane. Appreciate it. So yeah, I guess my story, I was born in Louisiana back in the late '80s. Spent a lot of my childhood there. My father was big in the oil industry, working with Schlumberger. So we, as a family, moved up to Newfoundland, a place I'd never heard of up until that point, for Hibernia. So you had a great big offshore boom going, and perfect time for my family to move up, jump in on this opportunity, and really just spread our roots. So my father worked in the industry he just retired only a couple of years ago, working on different oil projects. But oil is definitely what brought us here. And over the years as a kid, just through sports like soccer, basketball, hockey, really built lots of relationships here in town. Newfoundland really became home to me. And if when I think about where home is, St. John's would always be where I consider that hometown to be. So over the years, I had the pleasure of meeting my wife, Ceara. We started a small family back 8 years ago with our son, Kale, and really dove right in. At the time, we were living in Toronto, where I was working on my BBA, and she was doing hair school through Aveda, which Aveda would be the brand that we use now at our location here at Sound. And over the years of her building her career and me completing my degree, we kind of got to a point where we thought, we've got a lot of ideas. We work really well together. She wanted to take the next step in her career and take ownership, and ownership became an opportunity for us. So together, through due diligence and a lot of hard work over about the span of a year,
Yeah.
we kind of matched each piece together, and were able to acquire this business and take it to where it is today. So that was in 2016 that we were able to start and take over Sound. So she's been with the business for over 8 years now. We just celebrated our 4-year anniversary just the end of last month unfortunately during the COVID-19 crisis.
Definitely not the way you wanted to, for sure. Just walk me through, Neal. I didn't even know this, but walk me through what it's like being someone in their late 20s with at least one child at the time, maybe two, but definitely one. Kale definitely would have been born when you guys took over Sound. How was that intimidating? Was that nerve-wracking? Were you anxious, kind of going all in? What did that make you as a young professional feel like?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think as an entrepreneur, you're feeling a lot of feelings no matter what situation you're in. Having 3 kids, we started our business with 2 kids at the time, and we had having one child under our belt for several years now. I really felt that it just progressed me forward a lot further in terms of my desire to expand myself, my family, things like that. My will to take on new challenges, take risks, that kind of thing. So I think having children early actually benefited me there to prep me for what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
With being an entrepreneur and taking on new risks, sometimes you accept that there's going to be challenges, and you identify that the relationships you have built, and you're able to put those together and help overcome anything that might come your way. So I think for myself and Ceara, with her experience in the industry, already being in the industry for several years, and our relationship that we had, I think it was it was less stressful getting into it. I think we were both committed right away to know that, this is something that we could see being profitable for us and beneficial for our family in the long run.
How's the dynamic, the family dynamic? I grew up in a family business, so I've got a little bit of insight into it. But how is the family dynamic of it all?
As I'm sure you wear in a family business, you wear different hats at the same table sometimes, right? You're not sure which hat you might have on, but you set up a relationship, you set up communication that consists of, these are your core responsibilities. You set up tasks, and as long as if you can correctly navigate through those and set up those tasks correctly and know where you stand and where the other person stands, you're able to really work together and not let it affect, say, your how you parent at home or your relationship together at home, right? So it is one thing that definitely has its challenges, but being conscientious of it just helps us work together better, right?
And specifically related to your business, how does that look? Is your wife sort of leads the
Yeah, so Ceara would be more of like the creative director. She definitely works closer with the stylists themselves, and myself, I'm more on the back end, so doing more of the administrative work, some of the marketing, plug in numbers, that kind of thing, right?
I was going to call it front of house and back of house, but I wasn't sure if that was the right terminology. So
if you want to put it short, yeah, front and back for sure. We separate it that way.
Have your children taken any interest in the business at all?
So our daughter Meredith will be 5 next month, and she is the one that's always kind of listening in, watching, seeing how things are going. And so I think if anyone was to be a part of it down the road, she would definitely be one to jump in. She's really big on asking questions about the services we do, interested in products, things like that, right? So she just has a natural attraction to it, and it's really great for us because just get to entertain her and show her kind of the benefits of running a salon, and she can come in and get a few things done if she likes, and it's fun.
Cool. Okay. Just kind of curious, Neal. I mean, Aaron's a small business owner. I'm a small business owner. You're a small business owner. What's the dynamic like with the personality and the stylists who are? I'm going to say most of them. I'm making a generalization here, but most of them are our age, so 20, 30s thereabouts. I would think most stylists are. What's it like dealing with those kind of personalities and those individuals who some I'm sure are your friends, probably close friends of yours? How does that kind of work for you guys as business owners?
Yeah, definitely. So, we've had the benefit of working with some really tremendous staff over the years. A lot of really creative minds that bring a lot to the table. And, in where we're located in downtown St. John's, having that as your core is just amazing, right? So managing that over the years, we've had a lot of people who are very driven in this industry work with us, ambitious to grow forward. So it really helps drive your growth strategy. If you're able to have those people who are working with you, who are goal oriented, they really want to succeed in the long run, and it brings a lot of different different ideas to the table. So the way we look at in this industry can be looked at as each stylist and esthetician can kind of be managing their own business. It's something that a lot of these professionals strive to be one day as their own business owner. So having that mentality and that drive already in your workplace through each employee can be really beneficial when fused together to help drive the entire business forward. Right?
Almost like when they succeed, you succeed, kind of thing.
Exactly. It's a win-win for everyone when all are in, and it can only go forward that way, right?
Okay.
I'm really curious. Of course, COVID is, and sorry guys, I think my internet is really unstable today. Is it working fine now, or?
You're good now for me, yeah.
Now, okay, that's good. I don't know what's going on, but I'm really interested. Of course, we're living life under COVID right now, and businesses are shut down everywhere. Myself and Shane were talking about this before you got on the call. Is that we need to have an open up plan, because we can't live like this forever. The government is not going to have the money to be able to continue to keep people paid, I guess. And so I think it's important for us to start thinking about those reopening plans. But then, of course, you hear the term "new normal" all the time, and I wonder, how you think new normal is going to look for your business. Have you had a chance to think about that, or?
Yeah, Aaron, great question. And yeah, so you guys are obviously facing the same situation of being shut down with COVID. So it's a tough time for business for all. So it has definitely made us look at the future a little differently, how we're going to operate our business in this, like you said, new normal. So we've been trying to communicate with government, find out, first off, when do they expect this to end and come back, and how that will be. Yeah. So short-term changes we know we're going to have to make is probably how many staff we have on at one given time. Probably going to be open longer than we are now. So our hours are going to stretch, but the capacity will be limited. So it'll definitely be a challenge for how we're going to operate and operate our revenues that way, and control our costs, as they're obviously going to go up if we're going to be open longer, that kind of thing. But what we're also really wondering is, we're super close contact with each guest that comes in. We're touching them. We're in. There's no way we can keep 6 feet distance from somebody. But other measures that might come in place with PPE and things like that. So we're wondering what those kind of limitations or expectations will be, and guidelines that might be necessary from a safety perspective, and then how those, and then I guess second to that would be Obviously, there's a very short supply or limited supply of this PPE right now, as it's needed for healthcare workers. And we obviously, not being an essential service offering right now, would definitely want that PPE to be put in the hands of those that need it. So I guess we're going to look to acquire some of that when it's available to us, but by no means would we want to have to take that from others that definitely need it. While we know we're going to need more of it at some point for our business, so it's tough.
So do you imagine wearing masks, cutting hair, and that sort of is that how you're imagining this looking?
Yeah, it could definitely look that way. We've been talking with others in our network throughout Canada, locally and throughout Canada, and we think this is definitely, like you said, the new normal will be a cautious, more safety, enhanced safety oriented service operation. Right?
I think about I just keep thinking about a photography series with all this, because it's so strange. I find everything to me feels foreign and doesn't feel real. It almost feels like we're living out a movie instead of real life. And so I just think about, from a photography perspective, I mean that image down at your salon of, getting your hair cut and going through that with the masks and everything, it's just so interesting,
It is, we hope it doesn't have to be that way, but I think it's something we're just, we're going to have to expect and be ready for in case that is the measure. And it might not be forever, we're thinking short-term type of deal until all is settled. But, we're obviously going to listen to the advice of all the health officials.
And I really hope that the health officials and the government are out talking to people like you.
Yeah.
So they can get that advice, so they can know more about your business. And because I find that's a lot of the time, government, when they put in laws or practices, or that they sometimes they don't really know what the situation is, and it would really help if they were to go out and talk to the actual business owners on how some of these regulations or restrictions are going to affect their business, and if it's feasible or not. So
exactly, we want those communications to be there. We've been reaching out to government to keep that communication going, and make sure that any kind of restrictions that do come in place or for our business, that we can be compliant, but we need to know in advance, right? We need to be able to change our models and be able to react, but also for them to be able to listen to our concerns.
And how has the response been? You say you've reached out.
So far, we haven't heard a whole lot with our industry in terms of locally. We're seeing a lot of activity down in the States right now. In fact, you see in some states like Georgia right now, you can be getting a haircut in a salon right now. So we're checking to see kind of how they're operating, but they're in totally different circumstances than we are right now. I can't imagine it lasting long down there before they're getting a second wave, but it's our government, I think, will, while they've opened the opportunity for us to communicate to them, I think we're in a better position than somewhere down south of the border right now.
Yeah.
So, while I am an American, it's another perk to have moved up here as a child and been able to grow and become a Canadian. We've got a great country and great province here to live in, and I think I don't know if we'd be saying the same as a salon down south right now.
Yeah. So if America invades us, you'd fight on our side. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I wouldn't be much use in any fight, but I'd definitely be on this side.
I do kind of want to jump into that, the whole staying here in Newfoundland versus moving back home, I guess, or moving back to your birthplace. But before we jump into that, what kind of interaction or what kind of processes have you had with some of the stimulus packages that the federal government's put out? Have you guys been availing of any of those? Has it been an easy process? Is it difficult? Any advice or guidance for anyone?
So first off, some of the right away, we unfortunately we had to lay off the majority of our staff, given we had no idea when we'd be coming back. Just a great just took avail to that so they could at least start earning some more paychecks that way. Hopefully, this wouldn't be a long-term situation. We could all get back to work pretty quickly. But in terms of stimulus, we've been able to avail through our bank to the Canada loan, which will help us with our cash flow over the next little while. One of the big things that we were really concerned about was our commercial rent. A big factor down here, prime real estate downtown St. John's. How do we keep the lights on with no revenue? That kind of thing. So we've had good communication with our landlord here, and given the recent stimulus update today, we'll be able to significantly cut back how much we're obligated to pay for rent. So that'll help us stay open and reopen whenever that time comes. And as the Canada Business Account was announced with the other program, the wage subsidy up to 75%, as soon as that's available for us to be able to offer to our staff, we'll be plugging away at it. But right now, it just hasn't become available for us to be able to actually take advantage of. So while we're happy the government has been able to come up with these plans, we just haven't, some of them just haven't been available at our fingertips yet, which has definitely been frustrating.
For sure. And Aaron, I guess as a small business owner who hasn't laid anyone off yet, I'm going to put you in the guest seat here. What's your experience been with some of the stimulus packages and plans that the federal government's put out?
Taking a really long time.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. It's taking a really long time. I also have gotten the small business loans that they have there. The terms of that loan are fantastic. I mean, they really are, and they're definitely a big help. It's $40,000 per company. So I mean, that's nice. At the end of the day, $40,000 for business is not a whole lot of money, but it helps. And Monday they're opening up the portal supposedly for the wage subsidy. Which is going to be great. So that's going to be fantastic and help us out a little bit. But no, I mean for our business, I mean we were in a good position, and of course we were sort of getting ready for growth in some of those stages. We were maybe developing a bit of a war chest to help with that, and so I guess we're sort of digging into that a little bit to keep things going. But I think we're going to come out of this strong, and I'm an optimistic person, and I think you have to be as an entrepreneur. But I mean, it's part of the reason why we're doing stuff like this podcast here is because we won't sit idle and not going down without a fight. So and that's the way you got to do it. We've been making a lot of we've been doing a lot of different things internally with our business, and it's certainly things are different, but I still feel very positive. The good news is I've been doing a bit of reading, and normally after a pandemic, there is an economic boost. You look at the Roaring '20s as an example of that. So it's interesting. I'm really interested in globally how this is going to work and some of the effects from that, and what's going to happen. Supply chains are going to change, and actually, I wonder, Loucka, for your business as well, or Neal, I wonder for your businesses as well. Did people call you Loucka growing up? Was that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's a cool name. That's why I went to it.
Thanks.
But yeah, no, but I wonder in terms of your business too, on the supply side. I mean, for your products and stuff, do a lot of those come out of China, or is the supply chain looking different now for you coming out of this?
So a lot of our products are actually manufactured in the United States, but a lot of the key ingredients that are sourced and put into these products come from all across the world. So what I'm seeing and projecting in the future, just what I've read, things like that, is kind of a deglobalization from something like COVID, where you're really looking to source a lot of your product as close to home as possible in the event of something like this happening again. And we're seeing that right now across the board, where in terms of PPE, other companies stepping up and producing these products eventually to a point where maybe government can say, okay, we can source this product locally rather than getting it globally. So I think there's definitely a big disruption coming in terms of the global supply chain. I'm not sure how much it's going to affect us yet, as we get our product from a supplier in Halifax who sources it from Aveda in Minneapolis. And so it'd be interesting to see what's going to happen with those key ingredients and how that might affect the supply and production. But in the short term, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but it could be if we have multiple pandemics like this over the next few years or decades, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's gonna change things. And back to the question that you asked, Shane. Yeah, I mean, we've been it's great to know that the government has put those programs in place in terms of the wage subsidy. I'm really looking forward to that. I know that you had to claim it as income at the back end of the year, but we'll deal with that then at that time, and hopefully we'll be in a much stronger position. But it's definitely weird times for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange time for sure. And like you said, Aaron, it's hard to navigate what's coming next. At the same time, you've been able to sit back and look at some other parts of your business and been able to, like with this podcast for yourselves, try something new and stay busy in a time where there's not much going on.
Yeah,
sure. And just on that note, so how have you guys? Are you guys offering online sales? Are you doing pickups? Are people still kind of looking for some of your products? How have you guys adapted in COVID to continue to hopefully make in a bit of cash flow here?
Yeah, so through our social media channels and our online presence, we've been able to communicate with guests to encourage or offer product retail purchase here in the salon. So we'll actually do free contactless delivery in the metro area. And we're also shipping product across the island as well if needed. So we've had to adjust that way. Retail is definitely a solid chunk of our business.
Yep.
But the key piece we're missing, obviously, is the service industry that we're used to providing. But it's been able to help us, just keep some minimal cash flow right now. Also connect with guests and customers that are looking for that product, want to support us, and we can't thank them enough for that support that they've shown us. So we're not able to provide any kind of haircut or color service from a distance, but we can definitely still get the product in their hands that they're looking for.
Okay, cool. And I mean, I don't want to say there's a ton of different salons and spas around in beauty shops, but you guys seem to have positioned yourselves in terms of, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but our demographic, again, I keep coming back to the mid-20s to late 30s kind of demographic seems to be your bread and butter. Is that fair to say?
Our demographic, well, we've got a lot of stylists that are in that demographic working here. We definitely expand to a larger, broader demographic here in downtown St. John's. A lot of people, we get a lot of people who are traveling here. We get a lot of business professionals downtown, and also people who just want to come down and feel the experience that we offer. So
walk me through that a little bit. What's the experience that you guys offer? The secret sauce that you guys offer to encourage people and keep them coming back.
You'll have to come down and check us out, Shane, when we reopen. But
we'll do a vlog. We'll do a video series. I'll come down and get some spike tips again or something.
He's got some great hair too. It's getting a little long there now, but yeah, he'd be a great male model.
I won't take off my hat, but I've let myself go pretty long here now over this pandemic. But back to your question, Shane. The experience here at Sound, we in light of COVID, we really take a real hands-on approach in customer care. When you're coming in here, we want to make you feel like you're at home. That everything, all attention, all details that have been paid attention to, right? We want to make you feel the best you can feel. We take pride in putting smiles on people's faces every single day and over exceeding their expectations. So coming in here, getting your hair cut, hot towel on your face, foot soak, Aveda tea, that kind of thing. Just some key pieces to our overall experience in the salon and spa. So, like I said, you guys just have to come down, check us out, experience it for yourselves, and let us know how you think.
You've got a great name. That's for sure. You've got a great name. Like the name says quality, and it does have that I guess a higher end feel to it. I mean, is that sort of where you're trying to position your brand, or is it?
Definitely, we want to be an upscale service here in St. John's, and I think a lot of that trickles down to just the commitment and passion that we feel from our staff. The relationships that they build with each guest that comes in is paramount to our business, and that's what speaks to it.
So how do you, because that's a good point. So frontline staff obviously is key to your success and your continued growth. How do you find those people, or how do they find you? What's the dynamic there?
So being a big name in St. John's definitely brings a lot of attraction from new talent or existing talent. So we definitely get a lot of it sent our way, but we're always looking for new ourselves, and we're trying to go out and find that key person that really fits into our business. So it can be challenging, but in this industry, there's a lot of ideas, a lot of passionate people that come along, and having a good read on people when you're chatting about their futures and can really help position each piece that comes into our salon. Right? So with this industry, you're getting a lot of driven individuals who want to succeed and need to prove themselves. So having kind of some sort of competitions amongst themselves really helps them enter the industry as it's a very competitive industry. And I think we've been able to channel that well here at Sound.
And staying on trend is so important in your business. And how do you do that in your business, or what what are the elements that go?
Ceara would be best to speak to this as a more of a creative side, but through continuous education, we're lucky to be affiliated with a brand, Aveda, that is known globally, and we've been able to avail consistently to continuous education for our staff so that they're able to stay up on trends, create new ideas, and just be able to just enhance that delivery of service to their guests each and every time, right? So being in tune with that is definitely a key factor for us going forward. If we're not doing that, we're going to stay stagnant. And this industry, if you want to be a leader, you've got to be ahead of that curve.
Cool. Okay. And I guess not really a question, but I mean, as an employee, I would think that someone who values continuous education and who's kind of always on top of the trends, that's pretty cool to be able to work for an employer who values that and who sees that as a key part in the future growth plan and the continuous, I guess, rolling down the road for Sound. It's good to see and good to hear that you guys are investing not only in the business, but in the employees and the stylists who are working for you to make sure that they are up on the latest trends and the latest styles to offer to their clients. That's kind of cool to hear as well.
Yeah, we certainly think it's huge for them individually, not just ourselves as a business, but giving them the opportunity, offering, paying for education for them to avail to, is motivating for them, and also encourages them to work on these things in their own time. Here we are in 2020. Trends move so quickly. They're staying on top of it in their own time, aside from us helping them with it as well. So they're able to come up with new ideas that they've seen, new trends, and perfect those things. And it's great to see, right?
I hear masks are really in right now. Masks and scruffy beards.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely big for us right
now. And so I'm just curious if you've seen any opportunities from this COVID business that you maybe didn't see before, and coming out of this that you're thinking, hey, maybe I can go in this direction. Or I know it's probably a little different for your business, but I'm just curious to know if there are any sort of different opportunities, anything that you've seen.
In terms of an opportunity, it's going to be interesting to see. We haven't seen anything huge for us right now. It's definitely posed more of a disadvantage for our business as we're going to be scaling back significantly when we do open. We anticipate that anyway. What that might allow for us is to be able to spend more time with each guest, right? So just able to accelerate our quality of service to each person as they come in, as we may not be able to attend to more people in those time frames. So might give us some more time one-on-one with each person and help strengthen relationships that way. So we'll look at that as an opportunity and see whatever other opportunities might come forward. Hopefully the services we're able to offer, not everyone will have to wear that mask, right? So we'll be able to deliver everything that we're used to delivering, and hopefully won't have to scale anything back in terms of the service offerings.
Your clientele, is it largely female or male, or what's your average customer, I guess?
Yeah, it definitely varies. We get a lot of all genders in our salon, right? So we definitely we encourage anybody to come in, whether they're looking for a short haircut, long haircut. We're not going to discriminate that way. We're welcoming to anybody. So it definitely varies. We definitely do more long haircuts as more of our bread and butter, and hair color would be kind of our top services for those demographics that we service. Right?
Yeah, and so is it strictly haircuts? Or are you guys into beard trimming, or do you do nails, or is there any sort of that service that's offered?
Yeah, so aside from all of our salon services, we do skin services like massage, we do nails, we do facials. So we've got quite a full scale service here at Sound. So we're definitely not just hair. We've got a strong team in our spa. So if you're looking for anything like that, Aaron, come on down.
How often do you avail of the facial services? I could use some. Do you do seaweed, or what?
Honestly, the facial is probably my favorite service in this building. It's a real chance for you to step away from everything. So whenever all this is said and done, you need a real break from everything. The break from nothing. Just come in and really we'll take it away for you.
There you go.
That's good. I'm down.
How many people work with you, like, I guess in a peak time or before COVID hit? How many stylists and employees did you guys have? How big is your team?
Yeah, our team usually varies between 12 and 14 people. So, shutting down, we lost, a big team that we've built. It's tough to say goodbye and see them and not see them in the short term, but we've taken time to build those relationships and are eager for things to open back up so we can get them back in and get them back on the payroll and keep that relationship building further and further, right? So well, we are a small business. We've got 10 to 12 other people with us right now, 10 to 12 other families that have been affected from all this, right?
For sure, yeah. And just on the family note, Neal, so I kind of forgot about this, but I'm going to bring it back now. So why, again, you moved up from Louisiana as a young child, your dad came up for work and you kind of stuck around ever since. Why St. John's? Why stick in St. John's, Newfoundland? Why not move to Toronto and kind of plant roots in Toronto once you guys were up there for school? Why not move back home? All this logic there. Walk me through that a little bit.
Right. So, yeah, we had, not being an Islander by blood, I could definitely had seen myself years ago moving away, maybe building a family elsewhere or developing a career path elsewhere. But while we were away trying to build some roots in Toronto and see where that would go, once we found out we were having our son Kale, we decided, we could just feel it instantly that St. John's is home. It's the place to be. That's where our families are. It's where we could see ourselves building our own family as Ceara and I had both grown up here, at least in our later childhood. So, St. John's, it's the culture that's been built here. I couldn't see myself raising a family anywhere else. And that was instantly as I felt, as we found out we were having our first son. So St. John's has been great to us in building our family. through sports and other programs for our children. There's been no shortage of that. So it's, St. John's has always been home for me. I couldn't see myself starting my family elsewhere, right? So I had to come back to the Rock.
Yeah, just one other quick thing. So I follow you on socials, got you on Instagram. I see Kale plays a lot of hockey. To my recollection, I don't think you ever played hockey growing up.
I did. Yes, sir. I did. That's whenever you and I started cross paths was in basketball, and I just had to give it up for ball, right?
Oh,
so, yeah, basketball kind of won that relation.
You can show him a couple things, can you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's got a real knack for hockey. He's a big kid. He loves it. He likes to get out there with his buddies. So while I'm there to help him if he needs it, I'm usually behind the bench with him. Cool. He's taking it on his own. He's doing it himself. I think just having me there, he really enjoys that part, right? So, but he's got all the tools himself to do it. He's enjoying it, and I'm just happy to be a part of the ride and watch him go. And hopefully, our other two jump in and play some hockey as well, or maybe some other sports or different activities that they want to do. But as someone who's been a participant and involved in sports for a long time, I just can't wait to support them as they grow.
That's awesome, man. I love to hear those stories of people coming to this province and starting businesses and immigrating instead of out migrating, because we get too much of that. And I'm also a passionate Newfoundlander and Labradorian, and I guess it's great to see that you are too. And so that's awesome, man. And
I was able to get my Canadian citizenship in 2014. That was really exciting for me to be able to start voting in different elections here in Canada, and calling myself a Newfoundlander. I've been screeched in, and that was years ago. But anyway, no, I definitely consider Newfoundland home for me, and I consider myself a Newfoundlander now.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks so much. I think we're going to clue this up because we like to try and keep these under an hour, and I think we're getting close. Yeah. But it was really great to meet you. And I hear you like football too, so we'll have to have a conversation another time about maybe some NFL. I watched the draft last night. I'm a Niners fan, so that was a
yeah, for sure. Great to finally see some actual sports happening, So yeah, we could definitely chat about that. Thanks so much, Aaron and Shane, for taking the time to have me on. Hope you guys stay safe, stay well during the rest of this pandemic, and I look forward to chatting with you guys in the future.
Yeah, for sure. You as well, man. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah. All right, all the best, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.